I eat healthy, but can't lose weight. If we had a pound for every time we heard this, we'd have about 684 pounds because so many people are gaining weight when they eat healthy. So let's help you be body smart and understand the healthy foods that could be causing you to gain weight. Because trying to lose fat by eating healthy and then gaining weight back is a smack in the face. No, you're not getting me with that one again. If you're in a fat loss phase, the only way to lose fat, backed by science,
yes, science,
is to adhere to a consistent calorie deficit. The way you do this is by creating a calorie or an energy deficit. This means burning more calories than you consume. You might choose to create an energy gap or a calorie deficit by consuming fewer calories, moving more, or a combination of the two. All diets follow the principle of creating a calorie deficit. Whether the strategy is intermittent fasting, keto, Weight Watchers, or flexible dieting like we recommend at Body Smart, whatever the strategy you follow, the principle of successful fat loss is adhering to a consistent calorie deficit. I strongly advise you get clued up on energy balance and what a calorie deficit is. It could take away years of stress and save you many failed diets when you know the science behind fat loss. I recommend this video here to help. I always say you don't have to count calories, but calories always count. It's the calorie value of these many healthy foods that cause people to be knocked out of a calorie deficit and either maintain their current weight or even gain weight. These healthy foods are more nutritionally dense and packed full of vitamins and minerals. They also are more likely to leave you more satiated, but they do contain more calories. We are not saying don't eat these foods. We're here to show you the maths so you can manipulate your portions and still achieve your fat loss and health goals. So let's count down the 9 healthy foods that could be causing you to gain weight. Number 9, the famous avocado. Now they say the reason us millennials can't afford to get on a property ladder is because of all the overpriced avocado and toast we've eaten. But could the overpriced avocado also be costing you your fat loss goals? Before I go into the calorie count of this Instagrammable fella, the avocado is healthy. It's loaded with healthy fats, fiber, and over 20 different vitamins and minerals. But it's also quite calorific. A whole avocado, depending on the size, could have anywhere from 200 to 300 calories in. Don't forget, if you're regularly smashing your avocado and toast in your favorite hipster joint, many restaurants will add olive oil into the avocado mash to make it go further. Plus, that massive wedge of sourdough with grass-fed butter and maybe a poached egg on top too, you could be looking at around 500 calories per slice. So you can see how this seemingly healthy meal might add up. Number 8, nuts. Now, this is what 100 calories of nuts looks like, but it's worth pointing out that it is the calorie count for nuts in their natural form, without oils, honey, or sugar added to them, which can really increase the calorie content. Nuts are great and can be eaten on a number of diets from paleo to vegan. They're a great source of several nutrients including vitamin E, magnesium and selenium, but they're also really high in calories, which isn't the greatest news when you're trying to lose body fat. Nuts are also really easy to snack on and forget to track, especially if you're in a bar and enjoying a drink. So if you're in a fat loss phase, tracking your food and adhering to a calorie deficit, a few handfuls here and there that go untracked, it's easily done, might take you out of your calorie deficit and even be the cause of weight gain. The same goes for nut butters too, like peanut butter, cashew, or almond butter. You might think that your toast with almond butter is healthier, but when it comes to the calorie count, it can be higher in calories than traditional dairy butter. Number 7 is salmon and oily fish. Salmon is one of the more tasty fishes that you can enjoy. It's much more flavoursome than boring white fish like cod, but with that taste comes high omega oils, high fats, and I'm sorry to say it, higher calories. 70 grams of salmon, which is half the size of the average supermarket bought fillet, is roughly 100 calories. And 85 grams of smoked salmon is around 100 calories. One of our former clients, Lynn, came to us confused why she was eating healthy and wasn't losing weight. Lynn ate a lot of foods like salmon and avocado and thought this was right. These were healthy foods after all. She would limit what she deemed unhealthy foods and even went as far as having 1 Mars bar over the course of the week. Thinking foods like chocolate were the cause of her weight gain. It wasn't the Mars bar, it was too many calories from eating foods that were healthy, but also really high in calories that were taking Lynn out of a calorie deficit. Number 6, olive oil. Research suggests that half a tablespoon of olive oil a day can improve heart health, which is great. There's 60 calories in half a teaspoon of olive oil, but many of us will add a lot more of that into our pans for cooking, or roasting, or even pour it over salads. When in a fat loss phase, oils like coconut oil, avocado oil, sunflower oil, or any oil that you use in cooking or salads needs to be tracked accurately, because those olive oil calories can quickly creep up faster than you can say Popeye.
Oh, Popeye!
Number 5, granola. Yes, there's lots of healthy nuts and seeds in granola, but as we learned, nuts are high in calories. And when it comes to granola, there's lots of added fats and sugars bumping up those calories. Nut butters, coconut oil, honey, syrup, and even chocolate can be used in the toasting and binding process. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Granola is almost 500 calories per 100 grams. You might remember that I met my girlfriend Steph when I used to be her personal trainer. On our first week of working together, I got her to track her food. I could not believe that she was eating a bowl of granola that was almost 1,000 calories and had over 80 grams of sugar in. Number 4, cereal bars. This leads me nicely on to cereal bars. Most people assume that cereal bars are healthy. They're not necessarily healthy. Food companies do a great job of marketing the vitamin and fiber content of these cereal bars, but make sure you're savvy on this. Gram for gram, they don't actually contain that much fiber. They're heavily processed and full of sugar. For a similar amount of calories in one of these bars, you could eat a bowl of oats packed with berries, which will contain 10 to 15 grams of fiber and will keep you fuller for longer. While they're super handy to eat on the go, these cereal bars can really put a dent in your calorie budget. Number 3, seeded bread. There's a theme here, can you tell? While I'm in no way trying to be the seed and nut police, I just want to point out that these healthy foods might be nutritionally superior, but they're also superior when it comes to the amount of calories in them, which you need to be mindful of when in a fat loss phase. Even seeds that people might deem healthier, like chia seeds, sunflower seeds, and pumpkin seeds, can still be really high in calories. This is my favorite bread. It's Aldi honey baked seeded goodness. Not sponsored, just tasty. Do they have Aldi in America? American friends, this is the bread of the gods. But it's also really high in calories at over 150 calories per slice. So if you're adhering to a calorie deficit, seeded bread is one to be aware of. Make sure you track it and factor it in. Number 2, dark chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate?
I love chocolate.
Dark chocolate is better for you. It's widely known that it's rich in antioxidants and has less sugar than milk chocolate, especially the dark chocolate that has 70% cocoa or above. But we also know that dark chocolate tastes like
Dark chocolate.
Yeah?
No.
just because it's healthy doesn't mean that it has fewer calories. Finally, the number 1 high calorie healthy food that could be making you gain weight is smoothies. Funny story for you, when I co-founded Body Smart with my business partner James in 2015, we used to make recipes every week to share on Instagram. We'd go out and spend a fortune on ingredients, make it in my mum's kitchen, and then take arty photos of the food on slates for Instagram. We did, however, have a disagreement because he wanted to make a load of smoothie recipes and I said they were far too high in calories to put on our feed. Whacking some berries in your protein powder after a workout is a good way to increase your fiber and get some vitamins, but be aware of adding too many ingredients like nuts, nut butter, yogurt, and milk, as each ingredient adds up the total calorie content of that shake. Also, shop-bought smoothies can be ridiculously high in calories, have lots of added sugar, and the pasteurization process can take away a lot of the added vitamin and mineral benefits you get from making them fresh. As you've just learned, there's lots of different healthy foods that are healthy, but they're also very calorie dense. And that's not always a good thing when you're in a fat loss phase. Remember, we aren't telling you what you should or shouldn't eat. We're just working hard to pass on the knowledge that a calorie deficit is the principle of weight loss. So if you need to reduce your calorie intake and adhere to a calorie deficit, being clued up on the calorie content of these foods is really important. Just because it's healthy does not mean it's low calorie. With the exception of cereal bars and shop-bought smoothies, most of the foods we've mentioned contain vitamins, minerals, and fiber, which is essential for a healthy diet. These healthy foods will often keep you more satiated and can be factored into your diet, but they do generally contain more fat. Now, gram for gram, fat is the most calorie dense macronutrient, coming in at 9 calories per gram, whereas carbs and protein come in at 4 calories per gram. Which is why these healthy foods full of good fats that are super important for our health are also higher in calories. So just a recap for you of how not to gain weight eating these healthy foods when in a fat loss phase. Learn the calorie value of your favorite foods. Understanding the numbers will help you know for sure that you're in a calorie deficit or not. This also means that you can factor in a bit of what you fancy. It just means you might need to adjust the portion sizes. Make sure you're adhering to a calorie deficit. Just a reminder, there's a super handy video here that explains all of this in full and will be well worth your time. Get a pen and paper, you'll want to make some notes. Track your food honestly and accurately. Things like nuts and cereal bars are super easy to grab on the go and forget to track. We always recommend weighing your food with kitchen scales and using an app like MyFitnessPal to track calories. I've popped a link in the description to a handy infographic which shows how licks, bites and tastes of bits of food and drink throughout the day can really add up. Follow us for more facts not fads when it comes to fat loss. Click the link in the description to enroll on our free Be Body Smart mini fat loss course. Learn how to work out your calories and your personal calorie deficit, get educated on the 4 pillars of fat loss, get strong with our 3 workout programs, and get organized with our printable planner to help you get the results you deserve. I'm Jaymie from Body Smart, and I'll see you in the next video, but watch this one next.